What is up, podheads? Back with another episode of the Podioslave podcast. My name is Tony, joined, as always, by Anthony.
Hello, hello.
And Sean from Trawl's back, baby. What's up, buddy?
Hey, guys, what's going on?
Yeah, and you sound good.
Radio Johnny.
Oh, yeah.
Radio
Bringing it back.
Shawnee.
I'm bringing it back, being special, number 2 overall on the guest list. I had to go out and buy a new laptop just for this episode, so...
Ooh.
And I got you guys rocking on my 75-inch TV right now just because I figured out how to do that.
Jeez, I should have done my pre-show makeup.
I shaved yesterday.
Y'all look good. I definitely look like I have a face for radio and a voice for silent films. So let's just,
Don't sell yourself short. The voice isn't too bad. Everything else maybe, but the voice isn't too bad.
Even my wife doesn't want to see me naked, guys. All right.
Ooh. We won't ask her. We'll take your advice.
Yeah. But yeah, we're gonna talk Poison the Well. But Anthony, you had a little prompt first, right? You're gonna throw at us.
This came to me today because it's kind of a big story in our world, and then it also ties to Trawl, right? So I'm like, all right, let's do this. So at the time of recording, A Day to Remember just released their latest album. What was that? Big Ol' Album?
Volume 1, yeah.
Big Ol' Album Volume 1. And the whole play with that was it was released physically like a month ago on vinyl, and then they just released it today digitally. And the buzz online is like, this is groundbreaking. This is the new wave. And I'm like, our Trawl boys have been doing this.
Yep.
So how, who is the mastermind behind releasing physically first and then digitally second? I got to know, because apparently it's the new wave and you started it.
Well, I mean, we do that for a couple reasons. So I'll get to who's the mastermind. I mean, you could all guess. It's Seth. Seth is the one who's the mastermind.
Yeah. Shout out, Seth.
Yeah. Shout out and love to Seth. But we do that for a couple reasons. First off, we're old school dudes. We're all old as fuck. So we all really appreciate the physical media. We all collect vinyl. We all love CDs. Adam's still rocking a friggin' iPod for his
love it,
traveling and stuff. And we love that physical media. So why not put it out physically first? Because the people who still love physical media, they're going to go out and buy it. And that's that's one of our successes with Bull Moose has been, we put it out physically first so that you have to get it. If you want to listen to it, one, you got to either have a CD player in your car or at home, and then you got to go out and buy it. And I know a couple of the Bull Moose employees in a couple different locations have been cranking it as soon as the albums hit. So it helped drum up some, buzz, but it was always Seth's idea to go physical first. And then it kind of depended on how we felt. Do we want to do it 2 weeks after, 3 weeks after? I want to say From the Murky Depths may have been 3 or 4 weeks after, physical to digital. But it was always about the physical media because that's what we all love. I mean, it's funny.
Brilliant.
Seth and I have been in Trawl together for the entire time. We're the founding members essentially. And I just recently got all 4 EPs because I haven't had them. I keep giving them to people, friends, family, or, somebody I meet on the street and they're like, oh, I love your band. I'm like, here's a CD from the singer, thank you very much. And it's I ran out of all of our copies and I had to get some from Seth again. I was like, shit, I'm out. Any chance?
That's a theme. We've heard that.
Yep.
I think we've had people on and I think we showed them the vinyl. I haven't even seen it yet.
Yeah, I don't even know. Or I used to have a copy. I don't know what happened to it. It's gone. Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I got 6 of them. So.
Yeah, right. I got 3 different variations on vinyl, and then I got a CD somewhere, and the booklet right here. Yeah, exactly. No, I love the idea of doing it that way because it does force the people who want to hear it, the day it releases to go pick it up, or the weekend it releases to go pick it up, which I've done in, I think, all but Ghost Pepper. So since Ghost Pepper, I've done the weekend you guys have put it out. Once I had to go to 2 Bomos to find it. I should have just asked you guys. I'll pay you. I want the physical form. I love the physical stuff. So
I mean, you know how to get a hold of us, dude.
I do.
So.
Yeah, and you're not that fun.
You got to support the scan, though. You got to support the Bull Moose scan.
And that's the point.
Yeah, the Bull Moose scan is huge because, again, that's our love is Bull Moose. The 3 of us here, we all know what Bull Moose means. And to us in Maine, Bull Moose is I mean, the OG, they're the kings of the physical media, and we all just got to keep supporting them because they're doing exactly what we want them to do, and that's bring us some cool ass shit every week. And I just love Bull Moose. I mean, I have hats and stickers and patches, and I just love Bull Moose. I probably have. I know Seth and I have been talking. I think he was up to like 20,000 Bull Moose points or something like that. And
wow,
I'm in like the 4,000s. Yeah, he's gonna.
You guys don't use them?
Oh, I use them.
Yeah.
Seth, I don't know what Seth does with them. He just hoards them until he's like,
for that,
I'm just
man.
gonna,
Jesus.
yeah, he's just gonna clean out South Portland and just be done with it. Whereas, like, I'm like, yeah, you know that vinyl, I'll take that for half price.
It's like the dude who had all the Pepsi points, that Netflix doc that got the Harrier jet. Yeah, Seth's just gonna walk in a Bull Moose South Portland and say, I own this now. Here's all my points. This is mine now, right?
Are they gonna say we didn't think anyone would hoard this long?
Bull Moose is a record store in Maine and New Hampshire, but mostly Maine. Founded in Maine, founders of the Record Store Day that you guys all know and love out there in listener land. So go to bullmoose.com, check it out. They have awesome stuff online. If you aren't from Maine, if you are, go pop in and say hi.
Yeah, shout out and love to Bull Moose. You know, seriously, like it's our passion to keep them in the loop with us. And I know we're already
not a paid ad. We just love it.
I was gonna say we are not a sponsor. This is from the heart, and it's been like this for 25 years plus, I think, for all of us. But
easily,
yeah. But the physical release before the digital, you're going to see a lot more of that, because I think what people like when this year settles, I think we're going to find that A Day to Remember record moved more units than probably anyone, at least in that space for sure. Just the way they did it.
And even if you aren't going to sell the records that A Day to Remember does, but you sell more in the month that it's not on streaming, that helps you make some of the money back from either producing it, making CDs, whatever. Why the hell not? Like, if you're gonna sell 1,000 copies, go sell 1,000 copies, because you're gonna make way more on that 1,000 copies than you are on the 1,000 streams, right? So I like that model, especially as a fan. Like, I'm gonna go buy it anyway if I like it. So
yeah, I figured I'd give Trawl their flowers.
I love it.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. I really do. You know, we're not trendsetters by any means. I mean, but we do like A Day to Remember. We love those guys, and I'm glad somebody else sees the draw of going with the physical first and then bringing digital later, because like you said, Tony, 1,000 streams get you like a quarter of a peso. I can't even remember. It's like a ridiculously low amount of money.
Yeah.
But 1,000 copies of your album get you, at least $20,
right?
Depending on, your cut.
Between that and go try to cash that quarter of a peso check at the bank, right? It's not happening. Look at you, be like, what is this? This is my streaming. This is what I made off streaming last month. So yeah, go buy some physical. So
yeah, if you're clicking on this episode and you've never listened to us, we're a music podcast. If you couldn't tell, we do album deep dives, we do interviews. Tonight is an album deep dive, and it's one that it's special, right? Poison the Well, Opposite of December, Season of Separation. 1999. We usually save some of these records for like the 20th anniversary, 25th anniversary, 30th. This is not one of those. This is an off cycle, right? We had to do it.
Yeah.
And the band's celebrating it too, right?
Right. They're out on tour for it, right? So, and it just turned 25 at the end of 2024, right? It was December of 99 that it dropped. So it's only 25 in a couple months. We're not that far off of the celebration. We're just in the wrong calendar year, but it just turned 25. It's 25 years old now, and then a couple of months. And they're out on tour for it here. Probably as this is released, I think they're probably touring on it right now. So, yeah, we figured it was time to talk about this one.
So there's so many places we can start. I mean, I think with these, we typically start with like memories. Like it could be first memories of this record or of the band or of the scene. And I feel like, Sean, you should start us.
Man, Jesus, you're really fucking stretching the old memory here.
Yeah, buddy.
Okay, so the album, I remember it came out, like you said, December 99. Now I was a sophomore or junior. No, it would be junior. That was junior year of high school. So I was definitely into the heavier stuff. I know. So back in high school, I was like a very deep supporter of straight edge and stuff. So Earth Crisis, just all of the hardcore that could go, I was very much into. and I want to say I was a little behind. I want to say it was probably maybe April or May of 2000 when I got this album. But I
Awesome.
remember getting the, like, again, you're listening to Earth Crisis, Buried Alive, All Out War.
Oh, dude, you are
Integrity.
Geez.
The hardcore that I grew up with, the original Hatebreed, Satisfactions, that was what I was deep into. And then this album comes out, and it was like, what the fuck is this? Like, I remember the buzz around my school when this album started to make the rounds, and people were like, is everyone hearing this the same way? Because this is new. This is not normal. Like, yeah, Carl from Earth Crisis tried to sing a couple times, and it was weird. Like, the Firestorm EP with, like, Gamora's Season End was just, it was perfect. And you heard it live and you wanted to fucking ruin the world. This came out and it was like, I want to fuck things up, but I'm also looking at the flowers on the side of the friggin' road and seeing their beauty all of a sudden. And I'd never noticed it before because there's this deep, heavy, visceral vocals. And then all of a sudden the guy's singing in a way that was like, no one's doing this. Like, yeah, there was new metal that was doing some kind of stuff, but this was the beginning of metalcore. Fuck Atreyu saying they started it. Poison the Well
they didn't
are the innovators of metalcore, 100% without a doubt.
I think modern metalcore as we know it, because like Dead Guy and bands like that, which is that was probably the first wave. I'm speaking like a true loser right now. First wave metalcore, but when we had Jesse Leach on of Killswitch, he said that in this era, no one called it metalcore. You know,
yeah.
And I wasn't around, so I can't. I gotta trust, but I gotta trust the source here. But
I mean, I don't even remember what we called it. I think we just called it hardcore because again, that's what it was to us. It was hardcore.
It hadn't gotten popular enough to get a name.
Yeah,
new metal and pop punk are still happening, and then this thing over here is happening, and we're like, that's cool shit, man. But let's figure it out first before we name it, and then everybody else is doing it, right? I mean, the beginning of the.
I mean, I think it did start like there was a phase where it was just hardcore, and then some people were like, no, it's metal, and then it was, metallic hardcore, and that's what it kind of.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Again,
You're
that's
right.
how we got metalcore.
Hardcore was. I think that was the Dead Guy. That was the Converge wave. But yeah, I'm jealous that you experienced it in the moment because I was a few years later. I couldn't pin it, but the first time I saw them was Warped Tour 03, and I'm sure we'll I actually took a photo with Jeff, the singer from that, and I'm sure it'll hit socials.
Nice.
But that was my first time seeing them.
I'm so jealous. I'll admit it. I have never seen them live, and it breaks my fucking heart because they're one of my top bands of all time. So I'm very jealous, and Jeff has definitely had an influence on my singing over the years. So I
haven't seen him either, but I'm hoping when around this drops that we've caught that Boston show with Glassjaw and Teenage Wrist, and yeah, there's a hope that we're down at that one. But so Sean told us when he first heard it, it was kind of in the moment, a couple months later. When did you first hear it? Was it 03 when you saw him live?
Well, that was the first time I ever heard them was Tear from the Red. Was it Turn Down Elliot, Turn Elliot Down, and Botchla? Those are the tracks off Tear from the Red. And then you kind of go back. My guess is it was not earlier than 2003. It had to have been 2003 that I heard this album. And I was thinking about this. So everyone refers to it as the opposite of December, but it's the opposite of December, a season of separation. And the funny thing is you mentioned like Satisfaction. Satisfaction is a death of desire. Everyone knows that's the full name, but chooses to abbreviate it. Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. That's the full name, but you call it Melancholy. With this, I never knew the second half of the name for years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was always just opposite of December for years.
See, and I've always known it was opposite of December, season of separation, because it kind of reminds me, like, I think of this as one of those like, it was one of the first albums I remember, like, what the fuck does this name mean? Real, like, what? Like with Fall Out Boy, they, thanks for the memories, and it's all fucking like chopped up. And
Yeah.
All these bands have these crazy titles like A Day to Remember, you know, and you're like, where did this? And then it's like you look back and here's, you know, 12/23/93. What the fuck does that mean? You know,
and they released it in December. You know?
Yeah,
right.
But
Yeah.
like 6 years after the date of like Christmas Eve, 6 years later,
Right.
they released it what, December 14th or 15th,
Yeah,
something like that. So like, where did these crazy ass names come from? And that's how I remembered. It was like, bang! I really looked at the title of the disc when I got it and was like, all right, oh okay, this is interesting. And then I'm like, nerdy. What?
Yeah, great name,
What?
great song.
Yeah, it's all over the place. But having said that, like in 2003, I would have come at it at a kind of a different lens or different ears than you, Sean, because at the time, the melodic thing had been happening in those 3 years, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
I'm jealous. I wish I could go back in 1999, having not have the context of hearing 2000, 2003 and hearing this for the first time. It probably would have blew my skull off because it was so different. Like you said, like
Yeah.
Dillinger and Zayo, Cave-In, they were the leaders in the space, but there was no melody. I mean, they had breakdowns, but it was more chaotic, right? They leaned into the chaos. Not a lot of clean vocals either.
Zayo had a couple songs here and there with some,
you're right,
some
Zayo.
very little though. You didn't have, I mean, this is every song. There is a portion that's either a spoken word or a very well sung.
We'll get to the spoken word, right?
The just the way they did the vocals, it changed how a lot of, I know bands in my school that were trying to be hardcore bands completely changed their friggin', you know, their trajectory. They're like, oh, we can do that too? Okay.
A lot of bands did that. A lot of bands heard this and said, wait a second, what if we go that way? You know, like, and then flash forward to 2025, and I think the medium is pretty much, there's a lot of things that are very samey, right? It is what it is. It's all very clean. This had a like rawness and grittiness to it that you don't get with some of the stuff that you hear coming out in 2025, 2024, right? This had a little more of that grittiness, a little more of that, like, this is something new. Listening to it through 2025 years, because the first time I listened to it was 4 days ago, gentlemen. So
it's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, that shocked me when you and I were
texting. To
texting.
me too. I was shocked that I had never. I think I'd heard one or two songs, but I'd never heard the record in its entirety, and I was like, I want to do that. This is a fun exercise to have me come in as somebody who'd never listened to it. Sean, you were there when it happened. Anthony, you were there a couple years later. We've talked about the band. They've come up a bunch, but it's not something that I ever spent a ton of time with. And to hear kind of the start of a scene that I've paid a ton of attention to over the years, but never really where it started for a lot of bands, this is where it started for a lot of bands.
Well, and it's funny when you and I were texting and you were like, I just listened to this for the first time on a plane ride. I was like, what? And you're like, yeah. I was like, holy shit. So then I made the joke, it's the Twan and Sean show, because, you know, him and I have this deep history with these albums, and it's like, this is you're new. This is, it's almost so bittersweet that you get to hear it for the first time all the way through. And okay, I'm deep diving this. I've not really pushed myself into the full fold of it, and you're hearing like, it's like you said, like going back in time and hearing it in the moment. I want to be on that plane with Tony and see his face when he's like, that's the kick in for the CD. Are you shitting me?
Right. Yeah.
Oh, the drums. Yeah.
It was cool. And I didn't know what to expect. Like, I had an idea because I knew about the band obviously beforehand, but never having spent time with the record, I was like, I don't have really any context other than I know we're talking about it in 5 days. I need to listen to it a couple of times to get myself ready to go and then formulate some opinions about it, formulate some questions about it. And that was a weird thing to do, having done a bunch of these with records I'd spent 1 million hours with. So to finally have one that I was like, I need to like get the beats of this, that's hard. So I'm gonna lean on you guys a little bit, but it was very cool to hear where I think a lot of music I've listened to that came after it, a fair amount, probably got its start.
Totally. Yeah, and that's true. And the other thing, like around this time, we're talking about like got it started. Is this was released on Trustkill? Now Trustkill, I did some fact checking here. They started as a label a few years before this. I think 93, 94. So they had like a 5-year runway. But I think this was really the breakthrough. Like they had Harvest, Brothers Keeper, Disembodied. Those are all bands that were kind of in the camp that we just mentioned, which was chaotic, hard, not a lot of cleans, not a lot of melody. And then this drops in 99. And then after this, you get the Bleeding Throughs, right? You get the Hopes Falls, you get 18 Visions.
Yeah.
And a lot of those bands existed at the same time, but you can see the evolution. And maybe at the end of this episode, we'll talk about the evolution of Poison the Well themselves. But I think this was a sea change, not only for the sound, but if I'm Josh from Trustkill and I see the success of this album, you got to be thinking, you know, no pun intended, but there's more from this well that I can draw from.
Yeah, can I sign more of this stuff? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Like,
there's going to be
this
other
is
talented
100%.
people that can pull it off. Right. And there were.
Yeah. Man.
But I mean, Trustkill was one of those record labels that you heard about. So going back to like the first inclinations of what's going on with Poison the Well, like I knew of Trustkill. I think I had 1, maybe 2 albums. Poison the Well hits, and my eye was, it was Victory, it was Roadrunner, it was Trustkill, it was Tooth and Nail. Like I had my 5 or 6 record companies I was hyper fixated on, and Trustkill was one of them. I mean, I probably spent, I don't know, I had a shitty job in a friggin' kitchen during the summer. I probably spent 3 or 4 paychecks just buying just Trustkill albums because it was Trustkill. I had to trust it was going to be good because it started out good for me. I couldn't go,
Yeah.
and it couldn't go downhill. It really couldn't.
You know what those labels, especially in that era, they were all on fire. But you know what it reminds me of? It's like the loyalty fans had to those labels was almost like an iconic director. Like a Tarantino movie, you're
Absolutely.
checking it out. No matter what it's about, it has that stamp. It's got the Victory Bulldog. It's got the Trustkill logo. It's, you know, Bridge 9 was like that, right? I mean, it's, I'm sure, you know, Rhyme Sayers. Tony, you're checking out everything. Yeah. And
Hey,
it's
for a long time, especially around that time. You know, we were the right age to be like, let's deep dive into, oh, we hear a band we like from a record label or whatever. Let's find out who their label mates are, and let's start listening to what they're putting out. And then you end up finding 5 or 6 different artists that you're like, damn, I want to live in this world for a while. And then it happens again with, you know, Victory. And then you do it, you know, down the line, especially at our age, when we were, you know, 15 to 22, 23,
Right.
You were just diving deep.
You know, when you got into those things too, like Victory Records, I remember buying shirts, hats that didn't even have a band affiliation, but it had Victory Records on it. I remember getting t-shirts from Roadrunner Records,
Oh, yeah.
or bandanas from Trustkill. Like, who's buying record label merch? You're supposed to buy band merch, but no, you had this drive to support the record label because those record labels were putting out fucking heater after heater after, like, just absolute bangers every fucking month. And you just had to be like, I don't know if I can keep up with this, but I'm gonna try my damnedest.
Well, the other thing too is this is Tony's gonna laugh. My favorite term: the context of the time.
Mhm.
It's pre-internet. You feel like you're in an exclusive club. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
like this exclusive book club. It's I always equate it to Fight Club. It's like you're in your own little world, and you're geeking out with the people that are there. But everyone outside, it's like, I don't even know if there's an equivalent now because everything, even the small labels now,
So fractured now. Yeah.
yeah, it's everything's out there. Everyone has it at their fingertips. Where like you, Sean, in '99 had to go to Bull Moose and hope they had it, or go to like Lumberjack, you know, some distro, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it was that, or I had a friend who had a friend who had a cousin that lived in, like, you know, Tampa and had like a demo tape or something like that. I remember getting a lot of stuff through friends who burned me CDs, and they're like, here's 25 songs. These are all different hardcore bands. Like, they'd write down the listings, like the tracks and all that. And once I'd go, I'd have to find out how. And you know, the internet was a thing, but it was real slow. And you'd get in there, and you're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
okay, so this is
Somebody would call and kick you off. Yeah.
yeah. or your mom would just pick up the phone to call in pizza, and you're like, Mom. No.
Yeah. Oh, there goes 3 hours of downloading that one song.
Yeah. Well, there
my
goes the
illegal
virus,
downloading
guys.
of the Firestorm EP is over.
Well, you're like, you're like,
allegedly.
So you'd go in, you're like, okay, this band is called Snapcase. The song is called Windows. What is this on? And you had to go find the Steps EP. And then you had to pray to God Bull Moose had it. If Bull Moose didn't have it, going to Strawberries. If Strawberries didn't have it, Mom, I'm going with fucking, Sammy and Alex to New Hampshire to go to a CD store. Why? Because I heard they have this album I want to get down there. So we'd take an hour drive to Portsmouth to find the 3 record stores in a fucking block radius. Hey, this one has the Snapcase Steps EP. Let's pick up 4 copies. We'll bring them back to school and sell them. And that's what we did. That's how we made the rounds, is you'd get this burned CD from a buddy and be like, all right, tracks 4, 5, 9, 10, 13. No,
I love
14
that.
and 15. Yeah, these
Sean's
I need
207
these albums.
distro.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, all legend.
You were the music plug in Southern Maine.
No, man. We had Wyndham, Maine was we had a lot of kids who were into hardcore, and it was just like that. Like, everyone was sharing CDs, and if you got a copy of Firestorm, you gave it to your buddy, he burned it, or he'd use the old friggin' recorded on a fucking tape thing, and he had tape, so he had to have a Walkman, and it was hustling back then, but we all got into it and just loved it.
All right, so Twan, you saw them at Warped Tour for the first time. Did you see them again after that? You've seen them a handful of times since then? What's the deal?
I've seen them a bunch. So I saw them at Warped Tour 03, and then they opened a Thrice tour in 04, and I saw 2 shows on that leg. One at Lupo's,
in
and
Providence?
then one at the Axis, not even the Avalon,
Crazy.
at the Axis. And Verse opened the Providence show. That was a good memory. Let me think. After that, I'd have to look. But I've seen him at least 3 times. And you got to do the math there. That's over 20 years ago.
Yeah. How much of this record were they playing when you saw them? Have you caught a decent amount of it? Do you remember?
That's a good question. So both of those, they were supporting You Come Before You, which was the major label debut, which at some point, Tone, we're going to do a whole episode of bands from this scene that went major and dissect the how, the why, and the aftermath. We'll do that at some point. But I think it was probably, I don't know. This was only 4 years removed from this. I bet they probably played Nerdy. They probably played Slice Paper Wrist, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. They probably played the big ones, because if you're saying around 03, they had just released Tear from the Red. So they were probably hardcore pushing that. And I love Poison the Well, so I mean this in no disrespect, but they were probably on bassist number 35 and 36 sometime around there.
They've had a tumultuous history, yeah.
Although the current lineup is 3 OGs, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's 3 OGs, but I don't think they have a bass player still, or they have one. I love Poison the Well so passionately, but I feel like they hate bass players. There's a grudge against bass players.
I love it. If you go on their wiki, it's a big group, right?
Yeah.
Big list.
Yeah. And that happens.
It's not Shai Hulud, and it's not some of these other bands, but it's solid. But hey, when did they start? 97, right? Almost 30 years ago.
Yeah. And people come and go, and that we've heard that a million times doing this for as long as we have. People, it doesn't always work for a long period of time, right? You're not always able to keep together for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 30 years.
People change, lives change. I'm just glad that they made an album that is, in my opinion, stood the test of time. It really, to this day, when Tony, you messaged me about doing this, I threw it on and went, this thing is still fucking good. It is still, it sounds great. It fucking hits hard. That opening song, Drum Fill, dude, I can't drive. I have to be at the gym because I've almost destroyed my friggin' transmission to this friggin' album. I can't. I can't.
Don't do that.
So we talked memories, history with the band and the album. We talked context of the time. let's talk the album itself. Just throw it out there. You can talk tracks, you can talk observations, you can talk what you love.
Let me pull out all my notes here. Like I got notes on notes.
He does. He has a book. We'll publish it later at a later date, maybe on the website. Who knows?
We'll auction it off.
I'll call Trustkill and see if they can verify any of these facts.
Nice.
So what do you got, Sean?
All right. So let's see. Where do I mean, so I'll go off and I'm going to go off, I'm not going right in numerical order, but I will say one of my favorite songs in this album is To Mandate Heaven. And I love this because I actually took this song and I ended up starting a band called A Mandate of Heaven because of this song.
Wow.
It never did anything. It was me and my brother-in-law, and we never did anything. I think we wrote like 4 songs, but this song is one of my favorite songs by Poison the Well. The way it kicks in is just fucking, dude, I want to punch kittens when I hear this song. Like, I am so jacked up to hear this song. I think, in my opinion, this song has the best bridge breakdown in the whole album. I think this is the one that friggin' really sold me. This band is fucking the bomb. This band is the shit.
Well, it comes out firing.
Comes out firing. Yeah.
Comes out firing. And the interesting thing, Sean, is this, you could look at this as a deep cut in this album, right?
Oh, 100%.
And yeah, oh man. It's funny, while you were talking, I put myself on mute and was just like skimming it just to kind of relive the magic. And it's funny, like if you were from that Converge and Dillinger world that prefers more chaotic, well, guess what? You got this song on this album.
You got it, baby.
You got it, baby. Like, hey, if you're not a melody guy, that's fine, right? But there's something here for you, and we'll get into the breakdowns in a little bit. But like,
so many breakdowns,
so many classics,
good ones too. Yeah,
I had no idea you had a band named after To Mandate Heaven.
Yeah, it was a very short-lived thing. As my brother-in-law and I think we had a bass player. I don't even know if we had a drummer at the time.
You had a bass player?
I think so. Okay. Yeah, I think we kicked him out, but it was called The Mandate of Heaven, and I just remember this song just hit me so hard. And honest, I think that band was probably 09.
Okay, I was gonna say, is it before Brick to Face or after Brick to Face? Because
it was well after Brick to Face. But no,
go back and listen to our first episode with Sean to get that reference.
You can go back and listen to how Tony got held up and I waved at him.
True story.
I forgot that. Was that on record?
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
That's how Sean and I like Matt. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the few times. But again, like, this song just hit me, and the lyrics are so fucking good. I don't know what Jeff was doing, but the lyrics for this song fucking just hit so hard. And it's again, on my notes, it literally just says lyrics with like 4 exclamation points. The lyrics of the song, I don't know, they just caught me, and I've never been able to get rid of them. They've always been stuck in my friggin', like, the back of my head, just living there, free-floating apparitions.
Well, the lyrics of this song, Please Stay a While Longer, I Don't Want to Be Alone, like, that gives you a taste of kind of what the album's about. And we talk about differentiators, right? There's a reason why we're talking about this album. It stands the test of time. It's an outlier, all that stuff. And one of the reasons I think is it was accessible from a lyric perspective, right? If you go look at bands of their ilk, maybe with less melody, it's not this introspective. And I'm going to hate saying this, it's not as emo, right? I think that's why you get, honestly, I think that's why you get Warped Tour kids that like this album, right? Where they might not like Converge.
Or like the band in general.
Or like the band in general,
That's something I saw on YouTube when I was doing some other diving into this. That's one of the things that a lot of us old timers keep saying is these guys could bridge the gap.
Yes.
No matter what, they played Warped Tour, and guess what? The punk kids liked them. The emo kids liked them. The hardcore kids liked them. The metal kids liked them. Fuck, the fucking pop country kids liked them. No one knows why. They just bridged the gap, and everyone was like, they just pointed. They're like, fuck. And then you listen to the lyrics, you're like, please stay a while longer. I don't want, who doesn't want to not be alone? And just hearing that, the way he's screaming it, and then he just speaks it that once or twice, and ooh, the chills that you get from that, you're like, wow, that hits home hard.
It's so true, because if you're a dyed-in-the-wool metal guy, you can bend this way. There's enough heavy there to keep you. And if you're a Warped Tour kid, it's like, whoa, this is edgy. Like, this is, it's like the rated R movie as a young kid. It's like, oh, I know this is edgy, but it's like the clown from It. It's something relatable. You know what I mean? Like, it's that type of thing where there's just enough there where, if you're a Warped Tour guy, Dillinger's a bridge too far. Converge, bridge too far. But this, it's heavy. It's got breakdowns, but, Sleep on Portraits painted as perfect as you. It's like.
So, had I gotten into it in the moment, or even when you did, Anthony, 3 or 4 years later, I would have come at it from the emo side probably at that point, right? What I was listening to, emo and underground hip hop, which sometimes masqueraded as emo rap. So those kids for sure would have. It makes sense as to why they would have liked it because of the lyrics. The lyrics absolutely would have pulled in somebody like me, especially in this time frame. 99 to 0345. So yeah, it's amazing they were able to do that, and it's why we're talking about the record 25 plus years on, is because they were able to do that, right? Pull in from a bunch of different styles of fan who likes metal, who likes emo, who likes punk, who likes hardcore. They're gonna want to listen to Poison the Well because you're gonna get all of it.
Yeah. Well, so the lyrics, please stay a while longer. I don't want to be alone. Those hit, but the part that gets me is the end. His last lyrics. To see in your eyes is to stare in clear skies, was like, that's some poetic shit for like a 19-year-old, 18, or not even, I was like 17, 16. I was just like, man, that's cool as shit. What the fuck?
and they did publish, if I recall, they published the lyrics in the book too. Not every band did, right? And so that was like, you could kind of live it.
Well, especially hardcore bands, they never did. I had to learn Firestorm by listening to Firestorm 10,000 times. I just kept repeating it because you couldn't find the lyrics. And then it's like, oh no, he doesn't say this, he says this. And it's like, nowadays, it's all on Spotify. You can read the lyrics, you can look them up online. And it's like, back in the day, if they didn't put them in the book, you learned. And it was,
and you just guessed in some cases.
It was interesting when some heart like Converge. Really? Has anyone listened to the Jane Doe album? I fucking love that album, but
you
there's
can't make out shit.
It's like Mitch from friggin' Suicide Silence. Like, it took me years to go, oh, that's what he's saying. Never mind.
Yeah, I'm a lyric guy, and I like vocals typically, and it's what is I'm in on something or no, I'm out on something pretty quickly, to a fault, I would say. And this, like, there are times when in my music fandom I would have been like, no. I'll listen to this once and be like, no. But knowing what I know now and having the conversations that we've been able to have for 5 years, I don't do that anymore because I'm going to find something. And second listen, I was like, ooh, yes, this one. Oh, I love the name of this one. I love the lyrics in this one. I love the breakdown here. This is an all-time closer. Like, it's you see that stuff, right? As you pay more attention to it, as you live with it. You're never going to, if you dismiss it, you're in trouble. So don't just dismiss things because of maybe they're noisy.
Yeah, this is a noisy record, especially that song. Other observations, and we talked about it a little before. The spoken word talking element. It's funny how, like, it's funny if I time travel back to 2003, there were other bands doing it, and certainly after that. But if you dial it back to 99, like, I wasn't there in 99, but I'm not going to say these guys were the first, but they definitely popularized it. Like, Remembering Never, Mean Pete, rest in peace. He did that, and they're a Florida band, so maybe there was some inspiration. Amur, Frankie does that the talking thing, and there's a million other bands. But at the time, were there other bands doing it? I don't know.
There were, but what, in my opinion, made me draw my attention to Poison the Well was Jeff almost didn't sound like he was in key. So it was a sing-songy spoken word that was kind of off kilter. So it really punched through the music. When you're sitting there and you're listening and you hear him do this spoken word thing, it felt almost ethereal because it didn't feel right. But when you heard it in context of the music, you're like, this is exactly what it should be. And it punched through so cleanly that it was like, here's a talking point. Here's a light that you can find in this, dark tunnel of a song. And you're like, that's fucking point. Cool.
Forever is such an unpleasant word. And it's like his cadence, and you're right. It's almost off
cadence,
key.
Dude. The cadence is great.
He like cuts off. He like shortens words. I don't know. As I ask, and he repeats stuff too, right?
Right. Well, if you go and look at all the lyrics for this album, there's a lot of stuff that is just repeated in a sense.
Yeah.
Like there's a couple songs where the first verse is literally he screams it, he says it. He screams it, he says it. He screams it, and it's just the same line. Or, he'll do one line and then it's at a different line, but it's done twice. And it just built such a badass sound that you couldn't get away from it. And I mean, artist rendering of me, I could never swallow your false ideals of a lifelong happy end. The way he says that is just it almost felt like an absolute fucking backhand to an ex. Just like, fuck you.
Mm-hmm. Well, he screams it and he talks it, right?
Exactly.
I could never swallow your false ideals.
Yeah. Well, and that probably makes for a pretty good live, right?
I mean, that's
the gag. Yeah.
That
the
is
fucking drums coming over it and stuff.
It goes so fucking hard because everybody can jump in on that, right? Like you write songs like that to do that live. I'm sure that was what they were thinking when they did it that way, because I could just see that going fucking haywire. Hopefully we will.
Yeah, we'll be down there. Roadrunner, baby.
I'm jealous of you guys getting to go to that because, unfortunately, yeah.
I think you're playing that night.
I'm playing in Biddeford, Maine that exact night, and I was like, "Fuck!" I forgot all about wanting to go see Poison the Well and Glassjaw at Roadrunner. I was like, "All right, it's okay. I'm playing my own stuff, so I'll be there in spirit." But
we'll take some video for you, Sean.
Just if you can pick up a 2XL anything from Poison the Well
that could happen.
or Glassjaw, I would be greatly appreciated. The Fat Boy would be very happy.
We may be in the merch line. You never know. The fingers crossed this all happens, but yeah.
I can Venmo.
I really hope to see some of, having now, immersed myself in it for a week, to see some of this stuff live. Or are they playing the whole thing?
I think, it's 9 songs, 28 minutes. Right. I hope so.
They got to.
Yeah. So to see the breakdowns, to see the spoken word piece of it, to see just people who I'm sure will be connected with it, have been connected with it longer than I have, going ham. That's the cool part about Roadrunner and Boston is those shows are big room shows, but they feel like small room, which is really cool.
They really do. Yeah. Especially there. Like the ones we've been there twice, Tony, now. It feels like, I'm not saying it feels like a basement show, but it feels like, under 1,000 cap when it's like 3,500 people.
It's huge. Yeah. And obviously for this to all come through, Poison Well, Glassjaw, Teenage Wrist, who else is on that bill?
Better Lovers.
I mean, that's a fucking huge bill. That is stacked.
Top to bottom. Don't miss a band.
I am jealous. I'm not pissed, but I am jealous because that's such a good fucking bill. God damn.
Two alums of the pod on there too, actually.
All right. What other observations? I got a bunch. I'll let you guys cook. What other either songs or moments or themes or anything?
I have a question for you, but go ahead, Sean. You go first.
We're talking about lyrics and writing and stuff. These guys wrote songs differently. And one way that I want to highlight is track 2, A Wish for Wings That Work. I never actually paid attention enough that this last week of just bombing through this album a million times, I never noticed that the first chorus is like double time compared to the second time they do the chorus. And the way they wrote that song absolutely blows my mind every time I listen to it. When I notice that, I went, holy shit. I rewound it, listened to it again. I listened to that one track probably 4 or 5 times in a row and went, motherfucker, that's fucking cool. Why have I never thought about doing that?
That song has it all, though. Like, if you really think about the band in this era, like it's got the melodic and haunting stuff. It's got the spoken word, forever is such an unpleasant word. The guitar is relentless in this song. The guitar tone on the album is fucking all time. It's not quite River Runs Red crunchy, which
Right.
you know,
Yep.
total detour, and we'll leave it at this. But the guitar tone on River Runs Red is all time. We'll leave it at that.
Agreed.
Joey Z.
But the guitar tone on this, like, and I almost think it had to have just been an accident. You know what I mean? Like all these old records like this, I think it just happens, you know? So track 2, Wish for Wings at Work, I think it's like blueprint for this album. Cause I think maybe short of like the massive breakdown, it has everything that you'd want.
That was the first one that really hit me. Obviously the start to the record hits you because it does. But when I was trying to pick pieces to talk about and be present with what I was listening to, that one, you know, plane is fucking shaking like crazy, which I'm not a huge fan of. And I'm just like, well, if you know, this could be worse ways to go down. I guess I'm listening to a cool record and I love music, so let's just focus on this for a bit. That's the first time it like grabbed me and I was pulled in.
And what I wrote from my notes on this track, like I got notes on every single track, but this one alone, my first note is intro is thick. Just the dissonant guitars, just
with 2 C's, thick with 2 C's,
2 C's and 2 K's, bro. Like it's full thickness. The drums fucking going and those dissonant guitars just laying there, and then he screamed. God, it's like holy shit. This song, again, that's one of those things. I feel like if they swap this with 1223. I can't tell the difference. I think they both are in the perfect position, 1 and 2, either way. And honestly, the musicianship in this song alone is such a showcase. And then the lyrics, the song, the way it was produced. I also feel like this album, you can kind of feel little bits and pieces here and there that are maybe not perfectly polished, which made it have a little bit of character and charisma.
It's a good thing. Yeah, absolutely. No, I think it's a good thing. I think that's a draw to me as to why I would actually come back to a record like this. Whereas today, if this were to come out, it would have probably been, you know, if it were a band that had been around for a little bit, it'd be a little overproduced and probably not as gritty and wouldn't catch me the same way. Because the grittiness, the pieces that are a little off are there on purpose and they're fucking perfect for it. Like that's what they need to be.
It's funny, Chris, the drummer, in researching for this episode, there was an older interview, not too much old, maybe a few years ago. He was asked to like kind of reflect on this album, and he criticizes his playing on it. And I'm like, what? Man, don't change a thing. Like I can understand. Like, trust me, we're not a band, we're a podcast, but like, yeah, you look back at the early stuff and you would change a lot, but it sounds great. Like the fills, the aggressiveness. Like, I'm not a drummer, but I think he fucking nailed it.
I agree. It really shocks me that he would have gone back and changed stuff. But I mean, coming from a musician standpoint, yeah, there's stuff on like my first EPs or songs that I recorded, like I'd probably change or I'd do something different. But I mean, that's just, you're your own worst enemy when you're a musician, because you could never be what you want to be or sound the way you want it to sound, because it could be better. It could be better. You keep saying that. And then you have somebody who's like, dude, you're going to fucking burn it. You got to back off. So I get where he's coming from. Yeah.
You could fuck with shit till forever. Like you don't have to, you work on something over and over and over again. And analysis by paralysis, right? You just keep going, or paralysis by analysis. Keep going.
There's songs I know of for friends that they've completely killed songs because they recorded it, tinkered, tried a new recording, tinkered, and they finally, I think after like 2 years of fucking with the thing, they killed it. They hate the song. It can't be played right. They've changed it 3 million times. You know, the vocals went from this to that. The guitar's tone went from friggin' more, trebly to more bassy. If you do too much, you're gonna burn it. So I understand that. But hearing that, dude, this is such a fucking good album, and I love the snare in this album. I think that's one of my favorite snares. Yeah. The way it cracks, dude, it hits.
What was your question, Tone? You were gonna.
So it's such a I'm new to it question, but what if you had to pick one breakdown on this? What's the one you come back to the most?
Slice Paper Wrist.
Okay.
And
that would be it for me. And that's just I'm the noob though, so I don't want to be the noob saying Slice Paper Wrist is the one.
So there's two first ballot Hall of Famer breakdowns. So it's the one early with sliced paper wrists, and it's the one that we use for the old guy dancing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Reel. You know, the old guy. We'll probably repost it or something. I don't know. Check our socials.
Picture me 37,000 feet in the air going, I've heard that before. I know that one.
And it's so simple too. Like it's just it reminds me kind of like of the Strife Blistered breakdown. It's just simple and it hits. And then the other one is the nerdy one. Dun 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 digga digga dun dun. I remember. Ding 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 digga digga ding ding. It's been ripped off so many fucking times, but they nail it. And there's melody behind it, and it's just different. And man, but yeah, those two.
I mean, I can't disagree. I still say Mandate has, in my opinion, the best breakdown bridge in the album. But Slice Paper Wrist is it's literally in my notes. Breakdown, yes, with underline exclamation points. Nerdy though, I mean, Nerdy is such a fucking animal of a song. It is. I mean, it's the best track on the album.
Is it their most listened to song?
I think it is, yeah.
It's their top song. Yeah.
Is it?
6 mil.
I thought for sure Ghost Chant was going to be on there, but or like number one, but that makes sense.
So, fun fact, Ghost Chant is 3 million. I think it's actually second by numbers. But fun fact about Nerdy, in college, there was a coffee house night where you could do like acoustic. You could do spoken word. You could do acoustic songs. You could do full band. My buddies and I put together a band and we covered Nerdy, and we'll probably repost that.
You know where that you have that? Nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And my, this is my excuse. I was rocking so hard that my bass came unplugged like half the song, and I didn't know it. I didn't know it. But I wasn't even playing. I was just playing the root, the changes, root notes. But it is a relatively simple song on bass. I mean, it's all time, but I can still say that.
Well, I mean, you played half of it unplugged, so it has to be.
Sounded great. It sounded great.
I mean,
you be the judge out there when we release that.
Dun, 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 dun.
All right, so we've got Slice Paper Wrist, we've got Nerdy, and you got To Mandate Heaven. Okay.
Mandate Heaven. So I will say, Nerdy, the lyrics of Nerdy are probably some of the most beautiful lyrics you will read, because I feel like if you read those lyrics and you have found somebody you're in love with, these lyrics will hit you so hard, because it is literally what it feels like to be in love with someone. Just I literally have that as my notes, is this is how it feels to be with the one person you're so truly in love with. Nerdy. That's all I wrote for notes on that.
So let me ask you guys this. If you had no context of what I'm going to read here in a second, and no context of where it came from, would you ever pin this to come from a metal band? It's so hard for me to understand why I hadn't found you before. Hold my hand.
Boys
you
to,
would never.
I would say Taylor Swift.
You
T
would
Swift,
never
baby.
think metalcore. You would never think
Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
You would never think that came from a Mount Rushmore level metalcore album.
Amazing. 100%, dude. Well, and the thing that's funny to me is there's still that argument to this day that metalheads and hardcore and metalcore, they're scary. If you don't listen to metalcore and you're listening to this album, I want you to go type in Nerdy lyrics, Poison the Well, and read those. And if you have a significant other that you've been with for a long time that you love, look at them, read the lyrics and look back at them and just kind of bounce back and forth. You're going to feel something, because these lyrics do that because of exactly what you just read. That's a fucking Taylor Swift fucking 20 billion copies sold fucking #1 hit for 20 years, not a 1999 Mount Rushmore level fucking metalcore band that went through 3,000 bass players in like a 6-month span.
Yeah.
Hey, I would take it a step further. I would say this: next Valentine's Day, write these lyrics into your card to your spouse. You'll probably get laid. Just saying.
Dude, oh my God.
Bring back the receipts. Let us know that it happened too. Yeah, we don't need pictures or anything. Just let us know.
I don't want pictures, but I'll tell you right now, there's going to be some sore jaws and ankles and hips and elbows after that.
Sean took it there, baby.
Dude. I'll always take it there, man.
Yeah, I may cut that for socials. Who knows?
Oh, Jesus. Oh, man. But like that, to me, because when we said we were going to do this album, I'm like, oh, shit, this is one of the all-times. And I thought to myself, why? And the lyrics are a big part of it. Not only the lyrics themselves, but how they differentiated from probably everything at the time, right? You know what I mean? And they're vague enough where you can make them your own, you know? Except for the dates, like, you know, that's very specific.
Yeah.
The first song. But, you know, beyond that, like the lyrics to Nerdy, they're kind of universal.
Dude, I think you're 100% right, though. If you take the lyrics to Nerdy and you throw it in your Valentine's card, dude, your significant other is going to be fucking all over you.
Dude, you don't even have to wait. Just do it on a random Tuesday.
Dude, you could, do it on a friggin' Thursday afternoon. Oh, dude, see, now we're just going to have, you know, whenever this comes out, 9-10 months, there's going to be babies everywhere just because of this one song.
Just because of this podcast, right?
Just don't try to, you know, make love to the actual song because you're definitely going to pull a hip or something, you know?
Yeah, if you're here, you're probably our age. It's probably going to hurt.
Yeah, get your Geritol and your fucking Centrum Silver in and then, you know, take it slow. Take it slow.
Bag of ice. Get it all ready.
Yeah. I love how the lyrics led to this, the lyrics combo.
This is why we love having Sean on.
Next theme, the melody. There's melody throughout, and it's not in a very chorusy way, right? And you know what it made me think of? Or like the opposite, the opposite of December. It made me think of the opposite, which is, remember that Brian Posehn comedy song, Metal by Numbers?
Yes, 1, 2, 3.
That's where the genre went. And it didn't have to do that. It's
there now, yeah.
It's there. Oh, dude, it is there. It is on the deep end there. But like this album showed that you could have melody and not have it be formulaic and fucking cookie cutter in a fucking Mad Libs version of it, you know?
Well, and these guys, with you speak in melody, like they also did stuff that hardcore and metal bands didn't do. Mid-Air Love Message, that jazzy interlude. What the fuck did that come from?
Right,
like, but they showed this, you know, tone and this very fun feeling. I always thought that was another song. I always thought this was a 10-track CD. And
Absolutely.
then I was like,
it felt like you changed songs.
It's 9.
Yep.
Like, what the fuck? And this jazzy, like, it's like, oh, that's fucking pretty. What the hell?
I had to look at my phone like 3 times to make sure I was still in the same song. I was like, what is going on here?
So the first time I ever saw that name, Mid-Air Love Message, you know what I thought it said?
Love Massage.
Mid-Air Love Massage. Hey, you're gonna get a Mid-Air Love Massage if you put the lyrics to Nerdy. And
who wants the body massage?
Tomorrow in a card that you just grabbed on your way home at the grocery store, baby. Go for it. Go for it.
Make sure it's the right card. Don't get one that's like crazy furry or like a fucking lawn chair or something like that.
Unless you're into that stuff.
Yeah, it's 2025. No judging.
But yeah, the melody. No, I wouldn't say no one was doing it, but I don't know. Like if I look back at the biggest metalcore and hardcore records from the mid 90s to the late 90s, they were not doing this.
No,
they were not.
Yeah.
You know, the Earth Crisis, the Strife. You know, if you're going on the more metallic side, Converge and Dead Guy, like it was not this.
No, you're 100% right. This was a category all on its own. And honestly, I don't think anyone wanted to get into that category because Poison the Well was such a driving force of it. I mean, they just had it, dude. There was something special about this album and the melodies, the harmonies, it just felt like this is what it should be. It shouldn't, like you said, it shouldn't go this way. Stay right here in this lane. Oh, do you imagine how many albums and bands could have just come in and just been like, okay, we're in this vein. We're in here. We're not going off to this goofy side or this really dark, deep side. Right in here, dude, we'd have so many fucking killer albums from this.
2 things that just come to mind in this conversation. One, I wish a band or bands would go back to not the drawing board, but do something like this versus the overproduced stuff that we're hearing today. And 2, I would love to have just been been a fly on the wall when they were like, well, we can do this too, and we can do this, and we can do this. Like, we can have melody, we can have breakdowns, we can have introspective lyrics. It can all be one thing. No one else is really doing it like this right now, but why can't we put all these things together and then going out and executing at a pretty high fucking level? Like, how do you do that at that age? It's crazy. Probably happy accident, as we've talked about in the past, but man.
So to your first point, there's one band that's come close, and it's Foreign Hands. Are you familiar with them, Sean?
I am.
They do it very well. And I actually
very well.
I saw them at LDB Fest in 2020, and I saw them before I'd ever heard them recorded. And live, I was like, this sounds like old Boys in the Well. And then you listen to it on record, and it's the closest thing.
It's damn close, yeah. Because I think I found it as like a recommendation because I love this album, but I ride way harder for You Come Before You. Like that one. But I think I got it from a recommendation of that, and I listened and went, God damn, like, did they just reform under a new name? Like, this is great.
It's that level of, of like almost tribute in some ways.
Yeah.
Something for me to check out. I'm glad that that's
definitely
happening. But like only one band, like there's nobody else like trying to do it that way. Like, man, stop with the formula.
Yeah, I can't think of anybody else. I mean, honestly, Boys in the Well was one of a kind, and it's like, you know, when you find those bands that are that ilk, it's it's Mount Rushmore. They should be, you know, crowned kings of this because they broke the mold, and no one's got the balls to touch it.
I agree. I don't want to go on a rabbit hole on this, so I'll just kind of leave it at a statement. But if they ended after Tear from the Red, I think they would be deemed as the best metalcore band of all time. But I think because they changed up, a lot of people may not look at them in that light. However, I love the late version. I like versions. I like Tear from the Red, You Come Before You. Like, I like all the Tropic Rock. I do like all those. So I still put them there. But
I'm with you, and I will fight side by side, shoulder to shoulder, brother, for that. Because these guys are just. I mean, plus let's not gloss over the fact that this is their debut album. They had only put out an EP like a year before that. Well, maybe it was an LP. Distance Makes the Heart Grow Fonder.
EP, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, they friggin' 2-3 years getting into this mix, but then, you know, how many lyricists do they go through? How many guitarists, bass players?
Yeah.
And they land on this for this initial release. And then they bring back, for Not Within Arm's Length, 2 of the former singers to sing on the fucking song.
Yeah.
And it sounds so good.
Mm-hmm.
So good. It's the only song that I know on this album wasn't written by Jeff. It was written by damn it, I know his name. Trying not to look at my notes, but I know it.
You can look at your notes. They're right there,
Yeah.
Sean. Do it.
Yeah, fuck you.
Do it.
Dwayne Hosen.
Dwayne Hosen,
yeah. And honestly, it's the only song that lyrically he wrote. They brought him back, and then they brought back friggin' Aaron to do vocals with Jeff. Dude, that's one of the best vocal performances on the album because there's 3 of these amazing singers just tearing it the fuck up.
That's a deep cut in the album that hits, right? And it's got the sing along there. Couple quick hitters. You don't have to go in deep dive, but like we always say, for albums to be at this level and stand the test of time and be held in this pedestal, everything has to be firing on all cylinders. One thing that is definitely firing is the aesthetic and optics, right? The visuals are perfect. Yeah. They nailed it. And they got Jake Bannon of Converge. He did the art direction in the cover. So you got that cosign. And I love fucking everything Jake has done, both with Converge.
Totally agreed.
And visually. Like, if you're not familiar with Jake Bannon, I don't know what rock you're living under, go look at his artwork. Most of your favorite records he did. But it fits the name of the album, fits the vibe of the album. Like, if there's a checklist, yes, check that.
Absolutely. Fits it to a T. It's a great packaging to, what you're going to hear. It's striking. Like it's so good. I agree.
Do we want to hit the legacy? Start
Yeah,
to
let's
land
hit
the
the
plane
legacy
here.
and land the plane, baby.
Punchline, Mount Rushmore of metalcore albums. As we've said, it kind of checks every box, right? It has the tracks, memorable tracks. It's got the sing-alongs. It's got the breakdowns. And what I will say, and you kind of hinted at this, Sean, this album has benefited from withstanding the test of time, right? People loved it back then, but guess what, babies? People still like it.
Still, yeah.
Your favorite metalcore album from 2023, no one's going to care about that fucking thing in 10 years.
Probably
Truly.
not. Yeah.
The landscape moves too quick. And the fact that this hit then, hit in the mid 2000s, hit in the 2010s, it's still there, right?
Well, and not only that, but the fact that they're still being called on. People want to see Poison the Well again. They want to see this album in full. They want to see Tear from the Red. They want to see Poison the Well bring these fucking bangers back out. It's one of those things that, like, the legacy is dude, they're going to be in their 70s and still have to find a way to do this. I guarantee it, man, because I'll still want to see them. Like, I've never seen them and it kills me. And someday I will get to see them. But, dude, people still want to hear this because it still resonates. It still sounds so fucking good. We're, 25 years later, almost, be 26 this year. And honestly, if you would have said this came out 6 months ago, I'd have been like, damn, cool.
Yeah, you'd believe it.
Yeah, yep. It sounds good. It's produced so well. And honestly, like I said, people still want to hear these guys do this stuff.
Well, to underscore that, Sean, they could be the biggest they've ever been right now. I mean, think about it. I know it's an anniversary album, and I know it's a fucking packed bill, and I know it's Boston, but the Roadrunner venue holds 3,500 people.
Right, yeah. Huge.
In the thick of this album cycle and after, and even when they signed with a major, they were opening for the Deftones at the Palladium, right? That's a smaller venue. They were maybe headlining Hellfest 2000. I mean, even a festival, there probably weren't 4,000 people at that fest.
No. Well, and back when this album came out, I remember reading, I think they only did like 30,000 sales within a year. Like, it wasn't crazy
within
big.
3 years. 2002.
Within 3 years. So there you go. It wasn't that big, but it was big enough that it's resonated through time and more people have picked it up. And, I know my kids have been listening to it, and like my oldest is like, damn, this is pretty fucking cool. I'm like, yeah, dude, this was like when I was your age, this was the fucking shit. And they came out with this album, and, it has stood the test of time. And I agree. I think they are probably the biggest they've ever been. And I would love to see them just keep steamrolling that.
Yeah, no, it's definitely coming into it late and hearing what would be the influence for so much stuff. Its legacy is massive. It's Mount Rushmore. It's all of the things that we've said over the last hour. This record it's massive. It's amazing. It's 28 minutes, and you can listen to it 10 times in a row and not get sick of it because there's so many things to pull from and listen to and figure out and hear for the first time every time you put it on.
You know what? This has nothing to do with this album, but you know what was a huge draw for me with Poison the Well? Is Jeff used to wear a Deftones White Pony t-shirt.
Nice. Yeah.
And it's funny, if you listen to, I mean, you've heard You Come Before You, Sean, I know, you can hear that he's definitely clearly influenced by the Deftones and Chino.
Oh, yeah. Dude, come on.
They opened for Deftones in that era, too, Well,
they had, again, like we said earlier, they bridged so many gaps. Because I know Stretch Armstrong's a big one. They played with Candiria, which, oh, dude, don't get me started on Candiria. But, they could go and tour with anybody, and they'd have fit, and they'd have made fans. And I think that's what... Yeah, dude. They could Thrice. Literally...
Yep.
Oh, dude, could you imagine Thursday, Thrice, Poison the Well with, Deftones? That right there would be such a fucking sick bill.
Massive, yeah.
My show regret was that, wasn't it Deftones Thursday Thrice? What was it? Deftones Thursday?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Fuck, man. And
That's
now those are
massive.
now those are at TD Garden, you know.
Yeah, especially if they were together. Yeah.
And they're like $150 a ticket. And it's like, yeah, I got
Those
grown up
bits.
money, but I don't need that kind of grown up money right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Man.
All-time album. Yeah,
All-time album.
I see it coming
100%.
late. I see it still.
Well, and Tony, so from your point of view, this is new to you, and you're saying it's an all-time album. Like, that means something where somebody who's never, I mean, I've got 25 years with this. Juan, you've got 23 years with this. Tony's had a week and a half.
Yeah.
And he's calling it all time. I mean, that means something for somebody who's like, yeah, I heard of them. I know a couple songs. And then he went in and listened. He's like, God damn.
Well, they pushed a genre to one of the biggest genres in music in 2003, 2004. Metalcore was everywhere, and it had a name at that point, right? It didn't have a name when they were doing it to start. So think about that. That's how
crazy.
It becomes so big, right? That's how it's. That I recognize that being the reason why it's as massive as it is.
Man, I think we did a good job with that. I think we did the album justice, and we fucking love the album, so it helps.
Yeah. I'm just looking back at the tours they did, dude, with the bands when they released this. 12 Tribes, Brothers Keeper, Martyr AD, Candiria, Cataract, 18 Visions, From Autumn to Ashes.
Oh.
Dude, they played with some absolute fucking stunning bands when they released this album, and it stands the test of time. I think it has something for everyone. Even if you're not into heavy music, there's something there for you. You just gotta take your time, sort through it. Even if it's the midair love massage, jazzy split.
Yep.
I think you nailed it. There's something there for everyone.
Agreed. Yeah. All right. I think that about wraps us, right? Well, we could talk for another hour, but
I know.
if we do, we get to the point where we're now 4 times the length of the record. So.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we could go on for Tear from the Red and You Come For You and
down the line,
their
we can
new
do
stuff.
that, yeah.
Their new stuff's still fucking good, man. I've been listening to the new single, and
yeah, Trembling.
got it,
something.
man.
Yeah, it's good.
Shit. Well, Sean, Trawl, where can they find Trawl stuff? Let's plug that. It'll be in the show notes too, but
you can find Trawl at the beginning of this episode playing the intro.
Oh, I love it. I love it, baby.
You can also find Trawl at trawlband.com. It's basically Trawl Band on all the socials. We really appreciate everyone taking the time to check us out, and I genuinely appreciate you guys having me come back on. I know this is number 8, I believe.
Yeah, man. Yep. Second by yourself.
Tell me you listened to the 5-year without telling me you listened to the 5-year episode.
Yeah.
Well, and I remember, so Greg was getting up there and Spose is up there. And then I know Seth's, him and I share a few, but y'all got to have Seth on sometime.
We do,
'cause
yeah.
He's got some good takes on, and it's a good album. I'll tell you right now. And I said it to him, and I know I've said it to you, Tony. Faith No More. King for a Day, 25 year.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Ooh, I've never heard it. So that'll be it'll be a very unique lens, right?
I'll tell you right now, you'll have a good time with that. And especially Seth, he has the knowledge. I think he said that's the one album he was a little late to getting into, but he has it and he digs it hard. So I think you guys will have a great conversation if you drag him on for that.
We're due to have Seth on to do just a nerd deep dive. So
There you go.
We'll make that happen.
For sure. But yeah, trawlband.com. I mean, we're all over the place. If you go there, it'll bring you to everything. We got to update the website. We're a little behind. We've been real busy. We just started writing some new songs for the next album. They're interesting. The last album, Tempest, was it was a therapy session that needed to be done. And thank you everyone that came out and picked it up, listened to it, gave it a shot, told us it meant something to you some way, somehow. I know a good friend of mine recently lost his pet. And he said he listened to Nova and it hit him real hard. So thank you for everyone for just taking the time to check it out. I will say the new stuff we're writing, I've compared it to if Tool and At the Drive-In had a baby.
Ooh, all right. I'm intrigued.
So
it's the Toolin'.
Yeah, At the Toolin'. The
Drive
first song,
Tool.
Drive Tool, yes.
I like it. So yeah, check out Trawl at Trawl Band on all the socials, and the website's in the show notes because it's in the show notes every week. So yeah, go check that out.
Yeah.
We appreciate having you back, Sean.
I love seeing the every time I see a new episode pop up, it reminds me it's Monday because I see Podioslave tagged me in a thing. Oh no, they tagged the band. Okay, never mind. Yep. And then I go listen to it on my lunch breaks and driving around. So I appreciate
it's a good way to get at least 4 spins because
exactly
you guys all get tagged in it. Yeah, baby.
You'll always get us 4 guys listening to you, and I mean, you guys are doing a great job. Keep up the great work. I've very thoroughly enjoyed every episode, and especially recently, Daryl Palumbo. That was a great interview, guys. You guys fucking crushed it, nailed it out of the park. Daryl's definitely a huge influence, and I'm a huge fan. I'm super proud of you guys for getting that. I appreciate hearing you guys and all the hard work you do, and honestly, I can't wait for another 5 years of this, and maybe another 4 or 5 appearances here and there.
Hell yeah. All right. On that note, Twan, what do you got?
Sleep on portraits painted as perfect as you. That was my Scott step. Sleep on. All right, we're done. Peace.
Thank you for listening to Podioslave. We are at Podioslave on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of the places that you can find us on social media. Facebook, Podioslave Podcast. YouTube, Podioslave Podcast there. Email us at podioslavepodcast@gmail.com. And hey, if you want to become a supporter, click on the link at the bottom of the episode and give us $1, give us $5. It keeps the lights on, keeps us going. We really appreciate that stuff. Thank you.